to Charm Chats. Howdy.
Hello.
Welcome back to Charm Chats with Kendra
And Kat.
We're covering episode 402, Charmed Again, Part 2.
Yep, this one also aired on October 4th, 2001, because they aired it as one episode. We just cut it into two for ease of
Sanity.
podcast and sanity. So, no preamble. We come at you with Part 2 of the season starter.
We open seeing the Oracle, and the source appears before her. She's in that same slinky-ass dress.
Yep.
She's still talking in that very annoying voice.
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
He's upset because his assassin failed. The power of 3 is strong, and is upset that her vision turned out to be wrong.
He says that she, meaning Paige, is almost untouchable now. And the Oracle's like, dude, she's still vulnerable to being swayed. You have 48 hours, as per this completely unknown rule of magic that I am now elucidating for you.
Yep. The source thought that she had already chosen a side, but the Oracle tells him that she's young and confused, so he needs to seduce her into using her powers for evil, which she says is even better than killing her.
So the source runs a finger, across the underside of the Oracle's chin and tells her to see the future more clearly for her sake, and then vanishes in his trademark puff of fire.
We cut to Shane's room at the hospital, which we know is a TV hospital because it's way too dark.
Yep.
As someone who has spent many, many days in a hospital, it is never dark.
Not the kind of hospital room he's in, anyway.
Yeah.
They can make, the personal rooms dark, not the stalls.
Yeah, no, even personal rooms are never dark. There is always enough light that a doctor can just look in and notice that you're there and you're okay. There's always light.
But, of course, TV hospitals, there's only enough light to see the patient. That's
Right.
it.
Shane wakes up and stands up as the lights flicker. He's still in that hospital gown. The source appears before him in a puff of fire. Shane asks who he is, and the source says, "For now, I am you," and then possesses Shane just before Paige enters the room. She's still in that red dress, no jacket.
She says something horrible has happened to her, but she can't explain it. So Source Shane tells her that it's okay and he's here for her. And then he pulls her into a hug and his eyes turn completely black.
Yep. We then get a cool transition shot where we see the manor as it switches from night to day.
Yeah.
It was a really cool transition shot. I liked that one a lot.
Yeah.
In the kitchen, Piper is getting an ice pack from the freezer for Leo. She is wearing a light blue V-neck shirt that crinkles at the boobs and black pants, and she's got that little diamond necklace on. Her hair is down.
It's ruched. That's the term.
Yeah.
Ruched.
Leo is in a gray t-shirt under a gray plaid button-down shirt and gray pants. Again with the shades of gray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Piper puts the ice pack on his neck, saying she can't understand how he keeps healing innocents, but can't figure out how to heal himself. And I'm like, we've been through this.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to heal himself. You literally had to switch powers with him in season 1 to heal him.
Yeah. He says he can't heal himself when he's knocked out, and that's when Phoebe walks in. She's wearing a very low-cut, bright blue halter top under a blue and orange floral overshirt thing and jeans. And her hair is a bit wavy and it's pulled back halfway with a clip.
Phoebe asks how an angel can get knocked out, seeing as how he's technically dead.
Leo wonders why it's taken her 3 years to ask that question.
Yeah. Piper says that the more appropriate question is, how does a white lighter get somebody knocked up?
Which sets Phoebe to giggle.
And I don't understand why this is confusing her. She's literally seen their kid in the future. They went to the future.
Yeah.
They have a kid.
Yeah.
How is this a confusing idea for her?
Yeah.
I get that she might ask that back then, being like, wait, aren't white lighters technically dead? How can you get someone knocked up?
Yeah.
It's pre-established
that
that this
you
is possible.
know you're going to have, you've seen that you had a child with him.
Yeah.
You had this cute little girl in the future. You know this is going to happen. Why? Yep.
Anyway, they have to ask it now.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Leo doesn't understand what she means, even though it's a fairly straightforward question, and says that the elders had no idea that Paige even existed, let alone that she was their sister.
Phoebe reminds her that Paige is a sister witch. Piper reminds them that she's half witch, half white lighter, and then laments the fact that their mother kept the secret from them.
The doorbell rings. Piper says that it better not be another long-lost relative and goes to answer the door. Phoebe and Leo follow her, and Piper greets Daryl at the door, letting him in, and they exchange hellos. He's in the same gray suit as earlier.
Piper closes the door, Daryl looks around, and then asks where Cortez is.
Leo asks who Cortez is, because while Leo was there when Cortez was in the attic, he apparently didn't know the guy's name.
Yeah.
Because, he was there. Daryl reminds him that Cortez is the one that he hit over the head, and then mentions that he's missing, which is something police inspectors aren't supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Daryl then learns that, since it rhymed with undo, Cortez was sent to Timbuktu, and Leo tries to backtrack on this, and he's like, it's okay, Cole went to go get him. And just then, Cole shimmers in by the stairs. There is no one with him.
Correct. He is in a blue-ribbed sweater and a long black jacket, which I do not think is what he was wearing last time we saw him.
No. And Phoebe tries to go over to him, but he shushes her and, holds out a hand and then gets an energy ball ready. And we see in the doorway from the foyer to the sitting room, or from the sitting room to the living room, I think, a bounty hunter, does that weird, outline shimmer in. It's not like a shimmer because it's not wavy, but, it's...
Right. He just appears.
He outlines.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to call that now. He outlines and appears. And so, throws a lightning bolt, and Cole has to, energy ball him.
Yeah, it barely misses Cole.
Mm-hmm.
He kills...
It looks like it hits that buffet by the dining
Yeah, it hits
table.
something behind him.
But we never see the damage.
Yeah. Cole kills the bounty hunter with his energy ball. It vanquishes him in a puff of fire. Cole stands up and calls bounty hunters gnats, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
They're like these little fly bug things.
Yeah. And then Daryl asks where Cortez is. Cole says he found Cortez and moved him to a place where he literally can't tell a soul what he saw. Leo's like, wait, what? And Cole gestures below him. Phoebe, precious Phoebe, asks if he means the basement. And Piper's like, no, sweetie, a bit lower.
Yeah. A little bit further down than that.
Yeah.
Leo reminds Cole that Cortez is a cop, so he's one of the good guys, and Cole reminds Leo that he is able to expose the girls as witches.
Mm-hmm. He says that he thought they'd want to avoid that at all costs, and Leo's like, not at that cost. So they have to save him.
Yeah, they have to save him. So Daryl, of course, then wants clarification on that. What do you mean, save him? Phoebe is all, we'll take care of it, and ushers him out of the house.
She then rejoins the others, as Piper is asking if Cole can reason with Cortez, and Cole wonders what happens if they get exposed.
Phoebe says they'll risk it. Cole says that on his way back, he heard gargoyles, so that's something they need to be worried about.
Yeah, as Piper questions if he's really talking about statues, Cole explains that gargoyles' resting state might be a statue, but they come alive to ward off evil, and, look extremely hot because they're drawn as cartoons.
Well, I don't know about that. But
it was a good show.
Yeah. I actually happen to know a little bit about gargoyles because I have looked this up before for other things.
Yeah, it had Jonathan Frakes in it.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the actual thing.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were talking about the show. No. I just know that it has Jonathan Frakes in it.
No,
and it was a show I watched a lot, but barely remember any of.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about actual gargoyles. Now, there is a difference between a gargoyle and a grotesque. A grotesque is a decorative statue that's usually found on the corners of buildings. A gargoyle is a grotesque that has been designed with a spout to let water run off the side of the building. They're basically really ornate rain gutters.
Yeah, and that's where we get the word gargle from.
Yes.
As in you gargle water.
Right. So, technically, they're calling them gargoyles in this show, but they are technically grotesques.
Yeah, that's a point that no one's really gonna make the distinction on except you.
I get that. But, I just have to put it out there.
Yeah, we are only shown grotesques, but they call them gargoyles.
Yeah. So, Cole says that he thinks the gargoyles are trying to ward off the source because he's surfaced.
Which immediately freaks Phoebe out, wondering where the hell he could be.
Cole says he could be anywhere or anyone, and Leo says that he's coming for Paige.
He also says that because she probably doesn't even know what her power is, she doesn't stand a chance.
Phoebe says that without Prue, they don't stand a chance. Leo says that Paige would make the new power of 3. Piper asks if he can sense her, but he says that she's too new, which is a la convenience, if ever there was one.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Piper says that they should start at the church where their mom dropped her off because it's basically their only lead, though none of them are very happy about that. We cut to outside to pan over to a lovely, probably fake as it's blue instead of white, street sign for Portero Avenue before panning up toward the windows.
This is supposed to be the exterior of Paige's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Inside, we see Source Shane staring at a small blue parakeet named Oscar in a cage. The bird is making rapid noises that seem to mean he's in distress.
And he's kind of hopping around.
Which Source Shane says means Oscar doesn't like him. Paige says that Oscar has always liked him, goes over to her closet, picks out some clothes and a blue purse, and then sits down on her bed to change her shoes.
PSA, listen to your pets. They know the bad people.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Source Shane asks Paige to tell him what happened the night before. She says it's nothing. He says she seemed pretty scared, and she tries to blow it off, saying that she didn't expect to find out that she was a freak.
Which is a point he does not interrogate because he's evil.
Mm-hmm.
He says that he never got to thank her for taking care of him and then goes to kiss her.
Oscar starts making noise again, breaking the moment, and Paige says she needs to get going to work before she gets into even more trouble with her boss.
Paige heads for the door, and as she turns her back to him, Source Shane raises a glowing red hand in Paige's direction. And he's like, I know how badly you want to be there for the placement hearing, which makes her stop and turn around.
She asks how he knew that. He says that she told him about the little boy with the abusive dad. She lets it drop because apparently she can't remember that she didn't actually say anything to him about it.
Mm-hmm.
Tells him to make himself at home and then mentions he should stop by for lunch. He says he will. She leaves. He then turns to Oscar the bird. His eyes flash red, then go all black, and the bird disappears in a puff of fire before he disappears in a puff of fire. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
He's evil.
But really?
He's evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut to Cortez on a rock ledge, screaming for help.
And below him is a pool of hot magma, which startles him when he looks down, which is weird because, like, how long has he been down there? Has he not noticed that?
Yeah.
And it's also like a perfectly
care.
circular shaft. So
Yeah.
he's clearly in a fucking volcano.
Yeah, so here's the thing.
It's hot.
I don't care how long he's been there. He should not have gotten startled by the magma, all right? You're fucking, like, even if you're 100 feet away from it, it's fucking hot. You're wearing a suit. You'd notice it, you know?
Yep. Oh, we're getting some rain.
We are indeed getting some rain. I apologize if you can hear the rain. Nothing I can do about it. Nope.
Leo orbs in and Cole shimmers in next to him onto a slightly larger ledge next to Cortez, who yells at Cole to stay away.
Leo says they're there to save him. Cortez is like, you're the one who put me here. And Cole's like, no, that was just me.
Take the fall, boy.
Yeah.
And he was hoping Cortez would change his mind about exposing the girls. Cortez says the only way to stop him is to kill him, and Cole's, like, kind of thinking it over.
Mm-hmm. Leo says they're not going to kill him, tries to get him to realize that he'd be helping evil by exposing the girls, but Cortez doesn't believe Leo.
Cole whispers to Leo that taking Cortez back means he'll lose Phoebe and Leo will lose Piper, which is a bit domino effect.
A little bit.
Yeah, Leo outstretches his hand to Cortez, trying to get him to take it. Cortez refuses, and Leo's like, where could you be taken that would be worse than here, dude?
Cortez then grabs Leo's hand, and they orb out.
And after a beat and a sigh, Cole shimmers out after them.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, in that moment of, like, dude, you're literally hovering over a pool of magma. Where else could I take you?
Also, I really love it when Cole is literally playing devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is.
Yep.
Uh,
Now, we then cut over to an exterior shot of South Bay Social Services. And I'm not sure how many times we will see this exterior shot, but there are 3 people in the shot. There are 2 men coming out the door and a woman in a brown tank top and floral skirt. I mention this in case we see them again. Because while it's not tan jacket floral skirt lady, it may just be tank top floral skirt lady.
yeah. Inside, we see Paige at her desk on the phone.
She is wearing a pink shirt under a sweater with red, orange, and light green stripes, along with a gray skirt.
Yeah, kind of like a khaki gray skirt.
Yeah, it was an odd shade of gray. Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of like a greenish, grayish, it was weird.
Yeah, it was
hard
like
for me to really tell what color it was.
Olive green, kind of.
But
it was close there.
It was close.
Olive drab.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah, it was like a mix between an olive green and an army green with gray thrown in. It was really hard for me to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. And it's got like this weird like string tie just at the bottom that we see in later shots. That looks like it's meant to tie it, but it's in a real weird place.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Anyway, Paige is talking to her Uncle Dave on the phone, asking about Aunt Julie's hip.
We see a man come up to the receptionist, introducing him and his wife as Jake and Carol Grisanti, asking to speak to Mr. Cowan. Now, the receptionist is played by Tish Daniels. She only has 8 acting credits between 1998 and 2003. Jake is played by Benjamin John Perillo, credited as Ben Perillo. He was born in 1969 in Boston, Massachusetts, and only has 55 acting credits between 1992 and 2015, almost all of them being single episodes of TV shows.
And then Carol is played by Kim Little, born in 1970 in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Her 45 acting credits start in about 92, with her latest gig being the last Sharknado movie.
Perfectly named The Last Sharknado, It's About Time,
which came out in August of this year.
Yeah, August of 2018.
Yeah. Anyway, Paige gets distracted by this couple coming in. Jake and Carol are told that Mr. Cohen will be ready in a few minutes. And Jake's like, I'm going to go wash up, and walks away.
We cut to the bathroom. We see Jake washing his face in the sink. And then the lights in the bathroom flash. And he turns to find Source Shane standing there. Jake asks what he wants. The Source comes out of Shane like a ghost, leaving Shane's body to fall limply on the floor, and possesses Jake.
We cut back to Paige, who is still talking on the phone. She asks if her uncle is still going to the church that her parents used to go to, the church she was found at, and asks if there's a nun there named Sister Agnes still.
Yeah.
After getting an answer, she says, oh, something's come up, and sees Source Jake by Mr. Cowan, and says she has to go.
She hangs up and goes over to her boss. He's all, I got this. She says the little boy shouldn't go home with, quote-unquote, that jerk. Cowan says that she doesn't know for a fact that he's abusing the boy, and that it's none of her business, and that she's just an assistant.
Paige says she's only not a social worker because he's too cheap to make her one. Like, do you have the certification?
I know, right? Because you kind of have to go to school for that.
Yeah.
You don't just get one because you get paid for it.
Licensed social worker.
Yeah.
There's licensing for that shit, guys.
Yeah. Mr. Cowan goes back into a conference room. Source Jake stands on the other side of the room's window and gives Paige a smug look.
And then Cohen closes the window blinds, and Paige kind of turns around and leans her back against the window.
We cut over to the manor. Piper is holding the yellow pages, saying that she thinks she found the church, and she looks into Phoebe's room, but Phoebe isn't there.
She then goes into Prue's old room to find Phoebe standing there facing the window.
She sets down the phone book, walks up to Phoebe, and asks why she's there. Phoebe turns around holding a leather jacket with a tear-stained face.
And she asks if Piper remembers when she borrowed the jacket from Prue without asking. Piper asks, which time? Phoebe says she was just thinking of the time that her boyfriend's cat peed on it, and Prue got so mad that Phoebe thought she was going to have a stroke, and then mentions that Prue thought Piper was the one who took the jacket, and Piper never let it slip that it was Phoebe's fault.
Phoebe sobs and sits down on the pink sofa. Piper comes over and sits beside her, pulling her into a hug. Phoebe says that she misses Prue. Piper says she does too, and wondered when Phoebe would let go, meaning when she was going to start fucking crying.
Yeah. Phoebe says that she was just trying to stay strong for Piper and put all of her energy into trying to save Paige, since she figured out that only one of them could break down at a time where they'd be completely useless.
Yep. She says that she's really scared because Prue was their big sister, and she doesn't know how they're supposed to go on without her or go against the Source without her.
Piper sighs, says that she doesn't know, but they can't let him get Paige because she's their sister, and sisters protect each other. And of course, we then cut back to Paige, who is pacing outside the conference room.
Cohen comes out. Paige approaches him, asks what happened. He says nothing's been decided, they're going to meet again the next day.
Paige gets super pissed about that. She's like, no, you can't let this kid go home with this guy. Cohen's like, oh, the guy was very persuasive. And Paige asks about the police report and the counselor's recommendations. And Cohen says that he can't make decisions based on what she thinks, only facts, and he walks away.
Source Jake and Carol step out and he confronts Paige. He asks if she's got a problem. She says she has a problem with people who hit their kids. Carol tries to get Source Jake to leave. He lowers his voice and tells Paige that he can do whatever the hell he wants, and there's nothing she can do to stop him.
So Paige gets her purse and turns to leave.
Cohen sees her getting her stuff, asks where she's going, and she replies that she's going to church, and leaves.
And we
Kind of funny.
Yeah. And we cut over to Source Jake entering the bathroom, and there's like an old man bent over Shane's unconscious body, and he asks Source Jake for help. So Source Jake turns the old man's body into flames and is gone. Mm-hmm. And the old man is gone, I should say.
Yeah.
And then the Source comes out of Jake and repossesses Shane.
There was a nice little reverse shot of him going from lying prone to standing, fixing his jacket, and then walking up the screen.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like, I looked at that and I went, that was a complex reverse shot.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Uh-huh. It made it look very unnatural. Mm-hmm. And actually, the way the actor playing Shane is doing the possessed Shane thing is also very purposefully stiff in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'm liking the physicality of it.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the kind old dude was played by Joe Goddard. He only has this acting credit and one for a pastor in the 2006 movie Relative Strangers.
Yeah, I'm not going to even bother linking to his IMDb because I just, that's everything. That's everything that's on it.
Yeah.
So there you go. We go to commercial break. We come back to Paige entering a church, and we pan up quickly to what they're calling the gargoyle in its statue form.
And it looks a bit like a winged French bulldog.
A little bit.
Yeah. It's
bit.
real cute.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Anyway, inside, this is not just a church. This is a fucking cathedral, practically.
Yeah, this is
it might be a cathedral, but the only difference between, like, a Catholic church and a cathedral is that there's, like, a seat for the bishop in a cathedral. And so they don't necessarily have to be huge and ornate, but generally, cathedrals tend to be huge and ornate. And this is very
pretty.
big and ornate.
Yeah, it's super
And it's got,
pretty.
like, the dome. It's like St. Paul's. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we could find what actual church this is.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, if we tried, but we don't feel like
don't
it.
care enough. But
Yeah, anyway.
we see a very ornate ceiling and some mosaic art pieces on the wall, and Paige makes her way up to approach a nun that we learn is Sister Agnes. She's played by Wendy Phillips. She was born in 1952 in Brooklyn, New York. She has 87 acting credits so far, starting back in 1975, and I vaguely recognize her from her role as Peg Embry on the show Big Love. I loved that show.
Was that one of the wives?
No.
No.
Not one of the main wives, no.
Okay.
But it was such a good show.
I never watched it.
It was very drama. It was very, like...
Fake Mormons! Or whatever.
Well, but they did a very good job of being respectful
Okay.
to polygamy. They did a very good job. Even though it was very drama and very overtly over... I don't want to say overacted.
Stereotypical?
Yeah, it was over...
Tropey?
Yeah, that's a good one. It was over tropey. Yeah, it was a good show. They did a very, very good job. Anyway, Sister Agnes is in a black habit with white trim at the neck and a wimple of black with white trim that isn't completely covering her hair, as well as a cross necklace on display. So I'm not sure which denomination she's supposed to be representing, because different styles of habit denote different denominations.
I mean, she's Catholic.
Right, but there are different denominations.
I
and
get
so I'm
that,
not
but,
sure
like,
which she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because
it's not like Sister Act. But very, very, as far as I know, very few nuns actually get up in that specific kind of habit. Like, whenever I see a picture of a real life nun, they're more dressed like how Sister Agnes is now, because it's just less intense.
But again, it depends on the denomination.
I know, and like different countries and stuff will have different ones.
Well,
but,
because like the sisters, I think, was it the Sisters of Mercy? I don't remember. There's one where the wimple is like out and kind of big and showy,
like the Flying Nun.
Yeah, like the Flying Nun. There's a denomination where the black robe has a panel of blue down the middle, and same with the wimple has a panel of blue down the middle. Like I said, it's each outfit shows a different denomination. So that's why I'm not positive.
This probably isn't a specific denomination, if they were even trying for that.
Yeah. It was just more for me the fact that her hair was showing was where I was like,
It did look a little acolyte-y. Just in terms of me remembering from Sister Act the one nun who was like the young one. Mm-hmm. And
novice?
Yeah, the novice.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
she's
I mean,
not supposed to be a novice
I
because
know.
she's been around for
I know.
20 years. So
I
she's
know.
definitely not a novice.
But it's like nun casual. Nun business casual. None ya business casual.
Anyway,
Paige introduces herself, and she does it in an extremely roundabout way, where she's like, "Hey, I've changed a lot since you last saw me on August 2nd, 1977. And then just kind of stares at the woman, and
Yeah.
the woman gets it, and I'm just like, wow, she's got a really good memory.
well, yeah, we time jump a little bit as we are now in a little office in the back of the church. Paige and Sister Agnes are hanging out.
And the nun gets a wooden box out of a wooden trunk and puts it on the table.
We learn that both Patty and Sam came to drop Paige off.
Sister Agnes says that they came in a swirl of bright white lights like angels, which means Sam orbed them in to drop off Paige. They went the drama route, and apparently they told the nun that Paige was in great danger and needed protection and a safe home.
She was also asked to keep the secret until Paige came looking, which is why when Paige came looking,
Yeah.
she wasn't all that surprised.
Yeah. Also, she probably, did the math in her head, and she's like, oh, that would have been so many years. You would have been a baby. Oh, hey, a baby.
Yeah. Paige wonders how they knew she'd come looking. Sister Agnes is like, you came from angels.
And then she reaches into the box and pulls out a old kind of distressed blanket, baby blanket, with a big embroidered P on it. Or like a stitched, like a letter.
Yeah,
Like
the
a-
letter P on
yeah.
it. She says that she was asked to save the blankets that Paige was bundled in, and that her mother's only request was that her name start with P. So apparently Sister Agnes is the one that named her Paige.
Or maybe she told the...
Or the family who
yeah.
finally took her in named
Yeah.
her Paige.
Anyway.
And
I'm very intrigued that they named her Paige because, well, okay, I'm only intrigued about that because we already have two fairly puritanical names in the family that start with P. You have Patience. Wait, no, someone was named Patience, right? No, okay, no one was named Patience. I just made that up in my head. Whatever.
we had Prudence.
We had Prudence, and Penelope reads to me as kind of old-fashioned. Patricia as well. Patricia's kind of like Patience. Maybe that's where my brain got that from. But it's just funny because the stereotypical idea is, oh, a nun would name her after one of the 7 heavenly virtues or something, and hey, there's one that starts with a P. It's called Patience. And she just didn't go that route.
Yeah, no.
Just Paige. It's a very interesting name for a nun to choose, I think, especially in popular media.
Don't know.
I just like it.
Anyway,
Right then, someone knocks on the office door, and Piper and Phoebe enters, and immediately freeze the nun as she turns around to ask what they need.
yeah, Piper has added a light blue blazer to her outfit. It was very
Yeah.
nice. As you said, Piper freezes her and says that her powers have been a little off lately and she's lucky she didn't blow her up.
Phoebe points at the blanket Paige is holding. Piper tries to touch it, but Paige pulls it away, and she's like, no, it's mine.
Yeah.
But, of course, the girls recognize it.
Right.
She turns to leave. They all follow her.
And no one unfreezes the nun, so that's a thing that happened.
Yep.
Also, the blanket is no longer in Paige's hand, so there was probably a bit of the scene that was cut out, giving us that little bit of continuity error.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming somehow that she probably stuffed the blanket into her purse.
Yeah. It's a small blanket. It'd probably fit.
Right, but we don't see it happen,
Yeah.
and her purse doesn't look like it's bulging with a blanket in it. Just saying.
Anyway, back in the main bit of the church, Paige is walking toward the door, and Phoebe is calling her name. But she's not stopping, so Piper says, stop, or I'll freeze.
Paige stops and turns, and Piper and Phoebe stop as well. And Phoebe stage whispers to Piper that she can't be frozen because she's a witch. And Piper stage whispers back saying Paige doesn't know that, which I thought was great.
Paige asks them to leave her alone and continues to walk toward the main exit. They try to get her to understand that they know what she's going through. She doesn't want to hear it. Piper's like, something very bad is after you. And Paige is like, what? No. And Piper's like, you're the bad people. You froze a nun.
Yeah.
And Phoebe's finally like, hey, you got a magical power.
That finally gets Paige to stop and listen to them. Phoebe explains that if she's really a charmed one, she's going to need to learn how to use her power to protect herself. Piper then tells Paige of the prophecy that says the third sister has the power to move things with her mind like Prue could.
So she tells her to concentrate on an object and then points at a candle that's in a stand a few feet away and tells her to just wave your arm at it. So Phoebe demonstrates, waves her arm. Paige tries it. Nothing happens. She looks at the other two. Piper's like, oh, Prue used to squint her eyes. Maybe try that? Paige waves her hand to the candle and squints in a very funny way.
Yeah. Again, nothing happens.
So she turns back to the others and she's like, well, I might not be one of you if I can't even make that candle. And she gestures at it with her, like, palm up.
And the candle is then surrounded by blue and white bright lights, disappears, and reappears in Paige's outstretched hand.
Still lit.
Yeah.
Paige hands the candle slowly to Phoebe, who realizes that the white lighter in her makes it work a little bit differently. And then Phoebe blows out the candle.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
Where she just blows out the candle, sets it aside, and Piper calls Paige a half-breed.
Little rude.
A little rude, a little politically incorrect.
Yeah.
But still kind of funny in that moment.
Still kind of funny, like she does a little bit of squint.
Yeah.
And we cut to outside. Source Shane appears in a puff of fire on the sidewalk and starts walking toward the front door of the church.
He speaks to the Oracle, who isn't with him, saying that he's run out of time and that she better be there. We hear the Oracle's voice say that she is, and then as he gets to the door, we see the gargoyle screech.
2 of them, actually, because they're facing different ways.
Oh, was there 2 of them?
I'm pretty sure,
one.
because they kept cutting back and forth, and the gargoyle head would be turned a different way for no goddamn reason. So I'm thinking there's one on each side of the door.
Maybe. I don't...
Like on the corners next to the door or whatever.
Maybe.
But
I don't remember that bit, but yeah.
It clearly hurts him. He
Yeah.
drops to the ground, shields his eyes. It's like getting a laser ray in his face.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like, he drops and he doesn't cover his ears. He shields his eyes. Like, they're bright like the sun. It was very odd.
It is very interesting.
Yeah. He cries out, no, and then inside, we see the girls hear the noise and wonder what it is. And then we get a slightly sped up shot that's running at the doors as they open, and we see Source Shane's hand glowing red.
And he calls out for Paige, who rushes to help him, asking what's wrong. He's like, somebody's after me. So she helps him up, and they start to run off.
Piper and Phoebe come out and call after her. Source Shane turns and fires a red bolt from his eyes
like
at
a
Piper and
weird
Phoebe.
round bolt thing.
Yeah. Piper and Phoebe scream and go flying backwards into the church, sliding all the way from the door to the front of the church, stopping just short of the altar.
Or it said the altar. It's like that step that's in front of the space in front of the altar.
Yeah, like right in front of like the stage bit.
Yeah.
At the front of the church.
Yeah, who knows what that's called?
Yeah.
I don't.
Piper asks, what the hell was that? Which is answered by, good question, from Sister Agnes.
And the girls look a little bit embarrassed. I really loved the shot of them sliding back, because it was also slightly sped up, and you see their feet, like...
Jiggling.
Kicking
yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're clearly, like, being pulled on some kind of, like, rug or blanket or whatever, and they're just doing that for effect, and the speeding up of it is what made that really funny for me.
Yeah, it was quite nice. We then get our first exterior shot of the San Francisco police station.
Inside, Cole and Leo follow Cortez as he makes his way to a desk with a phone. Cole is like, oh, we didn't have to bring you back. Leo says Cole isn't helping. And then Daryl sees them and comes over asking Cortez where he's been.
Cortez tells whoever he's calling that he wants a surveillance team. Daryl asks him what he's doing, and Cortez says that he's doing what he said he'd do before Daryl knocked him out. Cole says he's making a big mistake. Leo hears a telltale chime and says that Piper's calling. Cole then leans into Cortez and threatens him with more pain than he's putting Phoebe through. Cortez tells the person on the phone the address of the Halliwells and says that they're murder suspects.
Of course. Leo then gets Cole to leave with him. Daryl grabs Cortez as he hangs up the phone, and Cortez is like, let me go, which he does. And then Cortez asks how many other murders Daryl has covered up to protect the girls.
He then calls Daryl a disgrace to the Shield. Daryl pins him against the wall, saying that he's risked his life and his family more than once for the girls, that they're the best people he's ever met, and they'll do more good than Cortez will ever know.
Yeah, and he mentions that it cost them their sister, and then 2 other police inspectors pull Daryl away from Cortez.
Night at the manor.
Piper and Phoebe, sans jackets, are now sitting on the couch as Cole and Leo are pacing in front of them, both with their arms folded.
Leo is surprised that the source was at the church. Phoebe says, the gargoyles weren't exactly whistling Dixie, which I thought was kind of funny, which is a reference to a popular song from the southern United States that showed up in the 1850s.
Yeah.
It was actually a favorite of President Abraham Lincoln, so much so that it was played at some of his political rallies, as well as when General Robert E. Lee surrendered. But it's sad because the song is, was usually done by minstrels in blackface. And the lyrics of the song are meant to reflect the mood of the United States toward the growing abolitionist sentiment, presenting that the point of view toward slavery was overall positive in nature. The protagonist of the song is supposed to be a freed slave and is singing that despite his freedom, he's homesick for the plantation of his birth. I spent nearly an hour on a wiki rabbit hole about blackface, and I'd like to move on now.
Yeah, my main reference for this is from, I think it was 2004? Because it's not on Jib Jab, but, on Albino Black Sheep or something, before YouTube existed, there was this guy who would take these songs and make them about politicians up for election and whatnot. He was the one who did the Be Prepared for Ralph Nader.
Okay.
And this one was about, Bush and Gore and stuff. Or, was it Bush and Gore? No, Bush and Kerry. This one was about Bush and Kerry. There was also one involving Gore, I think. But they were just, you paste a... It was like a flash video, and you, paste their head, and you just, cut out the mouth and make it, go up and down to make them talk and whatnot. And you just rewrite the lyrics. And I remember Halliburton being mentioned. They're on YouTube now.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Sure.
I had them memorized. I used to sing them at soccer games because I was a very, very bored child.
Anyway, Piper says that something powerful knocked them on their asses.
Cole wonders why the source didn't try to kill Paige, and Phoebe thinks he might not have wanted to go up against the Charmed Ones.
Cole says that since the source knows the Paige is new to her powers, this would be the perfect time to attack.
Leo, however, is the one that realizes the source may no longer be trying to kill her, but instead lure her to the dark side.
Phoebe asks for clarification. Leo and Cole tell her about the mythological window of opportunity where a new witch has 48 hours to choose to use her powers for good or for evil.
Which sure would have been nice to know about earlier.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Phoebe asks if the source can cast a spell on her, but Cole says that while he can tempt her, it has to be her choice.
They learn that if he gets her to use her powers for evil, she'll become evil forever. Dun dun dun!
Yeah. This makes Phoebe sigh, and Piper wants to know who makes up these cockamamie rules.
Cole looks down, Leo looks up, and she says, never mind.
Yeah.
It was funny. Now, I had to look up where that word came from, because of course I did. Now, while it now defines as something ridiculous, it actually started out as an alliteration of the French word décolcomania, which the reason it was turned into cockamamie is because it was meant for children who couldn't pronounce décolcomania, because that's a hard frickin' word to say. Décolcomania is the decorative technique to engrave or print transfers onto pottery or other materials. You might know it better by the shortened word decal. Yeah. I just thought that was very interesting. Yeah. Cockamamie came from décolcomania.
Which is strange because, how did the meaning difference?
There's an accent on the E. I know that much.
Not that. No. I'm questioning how a thing that's long for decal came to mean ridiculous.
Yeah, that I don't know. I literally couldn't figure that out. I just know that it was a shortened way of saying it because little kids couldn't say décolcomania.
Yeah.
But they could say cockamamie.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway. This makes Phoebe realize that they have less than 24 hours to get to Paige and no idea how to find her.
Piper says that the source does, and we cut back to Paige's apartment,
where she is sitting on the couch with a blanket.
Source Shane brings her a glass of water and sits down next to her. She takes a small sip, apologizes for getting him involved, and then puts the cup down.
He asks what's going on, and she says she's confused and doesn't know what to do. And he says she doesn't have to know. She's safe with him. And they kiss. And we go to commercial break.
When we come back, we are in the attic. At the manor, Cole is looking out the window at Cortez, who is leaning against his car parked outside.
Phoebe, Piper, and Leo are at the Book of Shadows. Cole asks if they're sure they don't want to turn Balthazar loose on Cortez for like a minute or two.
Leo says that he doesn't have anything on them, and now is not the time to blur the lines between good and evil.
Phoebe
Thank
forcefully,
you, Leo.
Yeah, Phoebe forcefully closes the book, saying it's useless, and
Winks at Piper and Leo. And she says, "We're not going to find Paige without help." And then the book opens on its own, flips through some pages, and stops at an enchantment spell. And Phoebe responds, "Works every time." And I choked on a giggle. Like, I started laughing so hard.
Phoebe wonders how an enchantment spell is going to help them find Paige. Piper's like, "Oh, well, the last sign is about revealing the evil within." They realize the spell is to help them identify the source.
Phoebe wonders how they're supposed to find him. Leo is all like, "Cole can," and he looks over at him.
Phoebe's like, "Hold up a sec."
Cole says that demons can sense the source's aura, as it's how he reminds them of his power, and that he can focus on it.
Phoebe basically says that's a horrible idea, because then the source will know where you are. But he's like, "I can be careful. It's the only way we've got to save Paige."
He then goes back to the window. Piper realizes that they need something to enchant, and everyone kind of glances around the attic. Nobody really moves. They all just kind of glance around them.
Yeah, and then Phoebe spots, a la convenience, a pair of bright pink sunglasses on a shelf that are not at all dusty.
Mm-hmm.
Piper isn't impressed, but Phoebe's like, "No, these are totally perfect."
Yeah. They're like these pink sunglasses that had like little...
Like Ray-Bans.
Like spots of different colors on it. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, they're kind of shaped like Ray-Bans, though.
Sure.
A little bit. Without that weird, like, dot thing.
Sure. They both hold either side of the sunglasses. They say the spell, "Magic forces far and wide, enchant these so those can't hide. Allow this witch to use therein, so she can reveal the evil within." It's a little clunky.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Anyway, the glasses glow. Piper's like, "Let's test them out." So Phoebe puts them on, giggles as she looks at Leo, since nothing has changed about him.
We kind of see him in a little bit of grayscale, just a little.
Yeah,
but
and then...
because it was trying to show that she's wearing sunglasses.
Yeah. And then when Cole speaks up, Phoebe turns around, looks at him, and lets out a teeny little scream. And through the glasses, we can see Phoebe see Cole as Balthazar as he walks toward the girls.
And we hear Cole's voice coming from Balthazar's face as he asks what he looks like. And it was just a little bit weird.
Yeah. Phoebe says he looks like hell and takes off the glasses.
Cole smiles. Phoebe looks up, thanks Grams for the magical assist, and Piper asks how she's sure it wasn't someone else, which I'm very confused by, but we'll let it slide.
Well, I mean, it might not be Grams. It could be Patty or it could be Prue.
I guess.
They're both up there.
Okay, fine.
Uh-huh. And that I thought it was kind of a sweet moment because they're like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we've got a lot of help up there."
I guess so.
And everyone except Cole kind of smiles about that.
Yeah.
And we cut to Paige in the shower. It's
a very weird shower.
It's like a stall shower in a boys' locker room or something.
Yeah, the walls of the shower only go up to her shoulders and there's no door. It's just this weird box thing.
Yeah. But she lives in a weird kind of loft apartment, so that makes sense.
I guess so.
Bit. It's just a very funny aesthetic choice.
I mean, it might be a San Francisco thing.
This set would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just weird.
Anyway.
She's also got her hair pulled up into a messy bun and it's almost completely dry, which means that she was, just rinsing her skin?
Yeah, washing her body or something.
Yeah. She turns off the water, wraps herself in a towel, and goes over to the mirror.
And she's got this completely dazed expression on. Like, she's not really seeing.
Yeah, she's a little vacant.
Yeah. Anyway, she hears Source Shane's voice as she stares into a mirror, and then her reflection, moves over slightly, and he appears behind her, topless.
Mm-hmm, like he was also in the shower, that kind of topless. The voice then changes from Shane to the Source, as he tells her that her destiny is for no one but her, and then makes an image of Jake show up in the mirror.
And Jake's image says, "You can't stop me." Then Source Shane tells her to use her powers to seek her revenge and makes the image of Jake disappear.
He tells her to use her power and call for his heart and then disappears.
So Paige holds up her hand, and the glass from the mirror shatters and flies toward her face, but no
she doesn't.
movement.
Yeah, she doesn't make any movement to move. She doesn't get cut by any of it, and she's left staring at a black square on the wall where the mirror used to be.
Yeah, it was a very bad effect.
It was a very confusing effect.
It was cheesy, is what it was.
It was unnecessary and confusing.
Yeah, it didn't look at all real, and it was just kind of, huh?
Yeah, like I said, it was confusing, and I'm not sure exactly what it was supposed to mean.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, we cut over to South Bay Social Services, where Jake and Carol storm out of Cohen's office, and Cohen walks off in the opposite direction.
We then pan over to Paige at her desk, who's now in black pants and a blue vest that she's wearing as a top.
It's like a micro suede vest.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, but there's no shirt underneath it, just the vest. Yep. So we are now moving from Prue being inappropriately dressed at work to Paige being inappropriately dressed at work.
Yep.
Paige gets up, follows Jake and Carol as Source Shane looks on, and he is now in a patterned shirt in like the most brown shade of orange under that worn leather jacket.
Mm-hmm. And jeans. Yeah, we cut to outside. Jake and Carol are walking out the door.
And guess who we see outside? Oh yeah, tank top floral skirt lady. Yeah.
And as they make their way away from the building, Paige stops a little ways away, like kind of in the shade of some plants, and holds out her hand and says, heart. So Jake clutches his chest in pain, and Carol's like, what's wrong? And he falls to the ground and doubles over.
And then we cut to the parking lot as Piper pulls up in a dark blue Jeep with Leo, Phoebe, and Cole. So apparently Piper got a new car.
Yeah.
They all get out and look around trying to find Paige. Phoebe is now in black pants and a top that is black on the bust and red with flowers on the torso. Vaguely Asian inspired again.
Mm-hmm.
She's also wearing a long orange jacket over top, and her hair is pulled into a messy ponytail. She is carrying the sunglasses, but not wearing them. Piper is in a white turtleneck and black pants with a green jacket, and her hair is now back into low braids. Cole is in black pants and a blue shirt under a bluish-grayish overshirt. And Leo is in gray pants and a sweater that's mostly gray with a stripe of blue across the chest under a tan jacket.
Classic Leo.
Yep.
Yeah. Piper asks if Cole's sure this is the place. He says, I can sense the source here. And then Leo calls out that he's spotted Paige. So Phoebe puts on the sunglasses and sees this kind of black aura around Paige. It looks kind of like the...
It looks like someone put lace in front of a light.
And to me, it looks like a shot of the reflection from water on a ceiling, but they reversed the colors and made it dark.
That works too.
Yeah. That's what it looks like to me. And it's not quite as mobile, but it's like a little like...
Yeah.
Distorty.
Yeah, it was very distorted and very haphazard.
Yeah. Anyway,
she mentions that Paige is surrounded by a black aura. Leo asks if she is the source, but Cole says that Phoebe would see his demonic self. So, no.
Phoebe knows whatever that aura is, it can't be good. And so they go towards Paige as a small crowd gathers around Jake.
Carol is screaming Jake's name. Phoebe tries to get Paige's attention. Paige says that Jake is evil and he's hurting his child. Phoebe says that she's being seduced into doing this. And Piper takes matters into her own hands.
She kind of shoves Paige's hand down, pushes her into Leo, and tells him to take her home. Go, go, go. And so he orbs out with Paige, and Jake's pain completely disappears. And the great thing is that since everyone was paying attention to Jake, no one noticed Leo orb out at all.
Yep. Our gang of good guys leaves. Jake stands up. Carol says he should lay back down, and he tells her that he's not covering for her anymore, and she needs to keep her hands off their son, and then he walks away, and she just stands there breathing heavily.
Yeah. Rather unearned moment.
Yeah.
Because, granted, we barely saw anything of the actual Jake, and they were pushing pretty hard for, him being the abusive parent.
Because usually it's the man, and I get where they were going with this of usually it's the man who's who's being the abusive one.
Yeah, and he
and
has,
it's
like,
weird
a-
for the woman, so
Yeah, and
we
he has
didn't
a
even
health-
think of the woman being the abusive one. And
Yeah, and he
But,
has
like-
a health scare, so he has a change of heart, literally. And so, but like the whole
It
keep
felt
your hands
really-
off our son.
yeah,
Like it felt like a moment to show that Paige was wrong, but like it wasn't properly set up.
yeah, it felt rushed.
It should have been like a thing at the end where Paige goes back into work and maybe the guy is leaving the office, but he doesn't have his wife with him, and maybe Cohen tells her that
It was the wife.
he came clean and that he's got a restraining order against his wife for hurting their kid, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah, they could have done this in a much better way.
It would have taken longer. I know.
Not
and
really, though.
Well, no. It would have taken a little bit longer because there would have been more than one line of dialogue to just reveal it. And it would have
guess.
had to have been a separate scene. So I get that they might not have had time. They might have been overtime with the filming and had to do this.
Yeah, who knows? It didn't feel like it was organically done.
No, it didn't.
It felt like it was tacked on of, I've been covering for you because you've been beating up our son, but I'm not going to do that anymore because my heart hurt for a minute there.
Because I was scared for my life. My life flashed before my eyes.
Yeah, it was just,
I was scared of what would happen to the kid if I was gone. I'm suddenly talking like Judy Garland.
it didn't seem very organic.
Yes, you said.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
moving on.
We cut back to Piper's Jeep. Piper and Phoebe are in the car. Cole is outside. He's saying that he's going to stay behind and make sure the source doesn't follow them.
He and Phoebe kiss, and the girls drive off, and then Sorshane comes out of the building. He seems to sense Balthazar, and we see him walk up behind Cole in this weird, sped-up way, but then disappears in a burst of fire before Cole turns around.
Cole then shimmers away, only to reappear on a sidewalk where Sorshane is standing looking away from him.
With his legs placed, like, exactly shoulder-width apart,
Yeah,
which is pretty wide.
yeah. Cole walks up behind him. Sorshane turns around and immediately stabs Cole in the stomach. Cole falls to his knees. Sorshane calls him a traitor, tells him not to die too quickly, and then holds his hand beside Cole's face with his hand glowing red.
He says he wants his beloved witch to see his last breath and feel the heartache of loss again, and then puts his hand on Cole's chin for a moment before walking away. As he goes, we see he's actually carrying, like, a short sword.
Yeah, it's a very long blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, much longer than a dagger. It's a short sword. It's like a good 2 feet long.
It's like a foot, maybe. Foot and a half.
No, it's longer than a foot.
It was like maybe a foot and a half long.
But yeah, it was
It was
almost
quite
2
long.
feet. Like, I'm counting the hilt.
Oh,
the
okay.
handle. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
2
then,
foot
yeah.
long. Yeah.
Yeah. He tells the Oracle to find Paige one last time and then disappears in a puff of fire, and we go to commercial break.
We come back to Piper and Phoebe walking into the manor. Phoebe takes off her coat, and we see Leo standing nearby.
Piper goes to ask where Paige is when
And then
a chef is thrown.
A chef knife gets thrown, missing Piper and Leo,
Barely.
and landing in the molding of, like, the archway into the foyer.
Yeah, in the doorframe.
Phoebe and Piper scream a little bit, and Leo's like, I'm having trouble convincing Paige she's not evil.
Paige calls for a lamp, which disappears in white orbs, then reappears as she telekinetically throws it toward Piper and Phoebe.
They all duck, scream again, it smashes against the wall and knocks over a vase. Phoebe tries to look on the bright side that Paige is getting the hang of her new power, but Piper is pissed that Paige has broken some of their mom's crystal, which was it?
The lamp.
The lamp was crystal.
Crystal lamp, apparently.
That's weird.
Yeah, because the vase wasn't. It
wasn't.
She picked up a lamp.
Yeah. Anyway, she tackles Paige to the ground in the dining room, and Phoebe and Leo join her in holding her, like, arms behind her back and her legs down. Piper's like, there better be some kind of Wiccan exorcism in the Book of Shadows.
She heads toward the stairs. She stops when the lights flicker off and on. And then Sorshane appears by the corner of the stairs. She asks who he is. His eyes turn red and then all black, and he telekinetically throws Piper up and through the railing for the stairs on the second floor.
Leo and Phoebe call out for Piper. Sorshane squints and a ball of red energy flies toward Phoebe, but she levitates to avoid it.
Nice to see that that's still a thing.
For now. She goes to kick Source Shane, and he disappears via fire, making her crash into the wardrobe in the corner.
That brings our furniture annihilation quotient up to 1 for the season and 50 for the series so far.
Fun fact, is the mirror on that wardrobe on the outside, or is it on the inside?
I think it was on the inside.
Yeah, I saw mirror pieces when she crashed through it. I'm like, oh, cool. They kept that. They didn't just make it a weird wooden shell.
Yeah.
It was a nice touch, I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Source Shane appears by the couch. Piper uses her power on him, and he dissolved into what looked like large bits of black ash.
Yeah.
A vanquish it was not.
No. Not on that ash hole.
No.
Paige stands up and heads to where Source Shane was. Leo helps Piper up, and Source Shane reassembles himself in front of Paige.
Yeah, it was a lovely reverse shot of those pieces of black ash turning back into Shane.
Yeah. Phoebe grabs the glasses and puts them on. She sees the source and tries to call it out to Piper and takes off her glasses. And she's like, here, look. And Piper's like, I know
who it is, which I thought was great. She pushes her hand away. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Source Shane says their powers are strong, but asks if they'll be enough without the power of 3.
Paige asks Shane what's going on. Source Shane uses Shane's voice to say it's okay, but Paige tells him to stay away from her.
Yeah, Leo's like, she still has free will. You can't force her to choose. And Source Shane says she's already chosen. He tells her to come with him and she'll be safe forever.
Piper tells her not to listen and that he's lying.
He's like, they only want you for your power. You don't have to share it. And then in like a flash of fire, he turns into Mr. Cohen, tells her she's seen what she can do and no one else can do what she does.
He then turns into Carol, telling her that she almost saved her son from his father and the pain that he's been through. And then finally turns into a little boy who begs for help not to be hurt anymore and says, "You're my only hope."
Yeah,
and
I got
very Star Wars vibes. The little boy is played by Robert Thomas Preston, credited as Bobby Preston. He was born in 1992 in Oregon City, Oregon, and he has 14 acting credits between 2001 and 2011. Paige takes the boy's hand, starts to go with him.
Phoebe tries to stop her, and then Source Boy's eyes do the red and black thing, and he raises his hand and suspends Phoebe in midair, shocking her with electricity. And, the positioning she was in was really funny, because her arms are kind of up, like she's holding the rails on the subway, like the handles on the subway.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and she was, shaking in a weird way.
Yeah. She cries out for help, which pulls Paige out of the trance. Paige pushes down Source Boy.
It was a really funny push, too. She kind of, pushes him toward the couch.
Yeah. That makes Phoebe fall. Piper, Leo, and Paige go over to Phoebe to help her up.
And then the clock chimes in the background. The boy disappears as the source changes back into Shane, who stands up via that reverse shot thingy. And Piper says the best line of the episode, I guess blood's a little thicker than evil.
Source Shane looks at the clock, then goes out of Shane, who falls to the ground, and he reveals his true self, which is a very ghostly form because he's not really there. He's just there as possession.
Yeah. Anyway, he says he's broken the charmed circle before. He'll do it again, and mentions that it wasn't a complete loss, thanks to Balthazar.
Phoebe asks what he did to Cole, and we hear Cortez say, "Oh my God."
And we all turn to see Cortez standing near the open front door with a little camcorder.
Piper tells him to get out. Cortez reaches for his gun. The source fires a red energy ball at Cortez, flinging him into the air and landing on one of the hooks by the door.
Just one. They're pretty closely spaced, so he should have landed on at least 2.
Yep, but just one.
Just one, and then he somehow falls off of it, and we see a little, blood.
Yeah, he screams, Piper gasps, he falls down, revealing blood on the hanger.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't have fallen off the way he did, gravity being, what it is.
It's a hook.
Yeah, he should have either stayed there, or he should have been, ripped down so that it,
the
slid through his back.
Well, it wouldn't have, because it would have hit between some ribs or something.
Right,
But like,
but
he should have ripped the hooks off of the wall, because those are not meant to hold a human body.
Yeah, that would have worked too. Had he fallen, like had he ripped the hook off the wall as he fell. But the way that he falls off this hook is like he literally kind of gets pulled upward again and then falls down.
It looked like he just pulled himself forward, and that somehow worked, but it shouldn't have.
It shouldn't have.
Anyway, the source disappears, blast of fire, and the others all race to Cortez, and Leo kind of runs around them and kneels next to him and puts his hand behind his back. We don't see anything of him healing him, but Cortez like makes a comment about, oh, evil's won, and Leo's like, think again.
No. Yeah, Leo heals him, helps Cortez up. Paige asks how he did that, and Leo tells her that white lighters heal good people. Phoebe says they need to find Cole. Leo and the girls leave, leaving Cortez behind in their house.
Yeah, great job, girls.
He grabs the camera off the floor, and we can see blood dripping down the wall behind him.
Yep. We cut over to Cole, who is lying in the grass, presumably next to the sidewalk where he got stabbed.
Yeah.
He's nearly dead.
The girls and Leo are walking down the street. Phoebe spots Cole and runs over to him, kneeling down beside him and pulling him up into her lap.
Piper has the bright idea to freeze Cole to buy them some time, tells Leo to heal him. He reminds her, hey, it's against the rules.
Phoebe says, screw the rules, the elders owe us.
And then Leo adds on the fact he can only heal the human half, which we've seen before, and it won't be enough power to save him. Even so, he still kneels down next to Cole.
Paige realizes that since she's half white lighter, she may be able to help boost the healing power.
Leo's like, worth a try. Here, take my hand. Let me not explain how this fucking works to you. Let's do this. And they both kneel down beside Cole, and they heal him.
Yeah. Paige and Leo heal Cole. He unfreezes, gasps for air. Phoebe hugs him, happy he's alive. Paige asks if that was good, and Piper helps Paige stand up. She's like, yeah, that was real good.
Yeah. And she hopes it wasn't all for nothing.
We then cut to an exterior shot of the police station that we haven't had before. It was much closer to the door.
Inside, Cortez walks in, holding his video camera. Daryl's sitting at his desk, like at the other end of the bullpen, sees him come in. They look at each other, and then through the door over to the captain, who we have never seen before.
Yeah, we did.
We did? When? Last episode?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is like, we've never seen the captain before this season, which is funny to me. Or have we? I feel like this guy is new.
This guy is new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't recognize him.
Yeah. No, I think there might have been a different captain last time we saw a captain, or we've never actually seen the captain.
Maybe.
Doesn't matter. Whatever.
Either way, it's like, I could have sworn that one was the interrogation room, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, Cortez goes over to Daryl, hesitates for a moment before giving him the tape from the camcorder.
Which he takes.
And then Cortez leaves, Daryl sighs, and smiles.
And we cut to the exterior of P3 with lots of people outside, no now appearing sign, so that's, still a thing that's happening.
Yeah. Piper, Phoebe, Leo, and Cole are all sitting at a table. A waitress brings Cole a martini and Leo a beer.
And according to the Netflix captions, the waitress name was Kat, which I thought was
very
funny.
Yeah,
yeah, because the caption said, because Leo thanks her for it, and it said thanks Kat, and I was like, oh, that's funny. I enjoy that.
Aww.
But she doesn't get an IMDb credit, so I have no idea.
No.
Leo is in a reddish-orangish button-down shirt under a gray jacket with gray pants. Cole is in a black shirt under a gray jacket with black pants. Piper is in a dress that is black on the top and patterned on the bottom. It only has one shoulder.
And it's kind of got a split sleeve.
Yeah, a little bit of a split sleeve. With her hair pulled back halfway into a bun, and she's not wearing any jewelry at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Phoebe is in a spaghetti strap dress in nice shades of red that's got like a faux wrap thing happening at the bust. Mm-hmm. And her hair is pulled back into a mess of curls close to the back of her head with some like danglies out front. Mm-hmm. And she's got some cute little earrings.
Yeah, some cute little dangles earrings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Leo and Cole say it's good to be there. They have a toast to existing. Cole promises Phoebe that he'll never, ever scare her like that again.
He'll just scare her in different ways.
Different new fun ways.
Yeah.
Phoebe smiles as she takes a drink. Leo asks Piper if she's okay.
She says she's not sure and says that she's realized that they haven't really had a chance to mourn Prue.
Phoebe, very helpfully actually, says that they'll have the rest of their lives to mourn her. Piper says she's still not sure about this whole destiny thing.
She hopes that Phoebe and Leo will be okay with her taking some time to think. Leo says that while the elders might not be okay with it, he is, and takes her hand.
Paige walks up, and she's wearing a nice bright pink dress that ties at one shoulder, is solid on the other, has a lace panel like down the front of the, like in the panel in the bust, and then has an asymmetrical bottom that's like way above the knee on one side and like way below it on the other.
Yeah.
Kind of cute.
Yeah. I liked it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Even though it was pink, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, she jokingly sort of asks if she gets free drinks now.
Phoebe chuckles a little, which seems to embarrass Paige, who stammers out about not actually drinking at all and starts to leave.
Oh, yeah, and I noticed that Phoebe's drink was a Perrier with a straw, just like Paige.
Yep.
Ha!
Yep.
Anyway, Leo stands up and stops her, reminds her she belongs there.
She asks if he's sure. Phoebe beckons her to sit next to her. Cole goes over to stand next to Leo, and Paige sits down next to Phoebe.
And then Cole kind of mumbles and stammers that he and Leo should go pretend like we got something better to do. And Leo nods and they both walk off.
Yeah, it was very funny. It was very cute.
Yeah, Paige is like, oh, I won't stay long. I just wanted to come by and thank you.
Phoebe asks what they're being thanked for. Paige reminds them that they saved her life and jokes about baking them a cake.
Piper asks if she cooks. Paige sheepishly is like, no, not really.
And Piper kind of seems a little saddened by that. It was that little moment of like, oh, you cook? Oh, no, you don't cook. Oh, all right. It was a cute little moment.
Yeah. Phoebe asks how Shane is, and Paige is like, oh, he's fine. He just doesn't want to see me. So Phoebe apologizes, and Paige is like, oh, I can't really blame him. I know he knows that something bad happened to him and that it's connected to her, but he doesn't really know what happened.
Yeah. Piper says, you're not truly one of us until you've dated a demon, and welcomes her to the club. It was cute. It was very cute.
Yeah. Phoebe asks then why Paige came to Prue's funeral, even though they never met. And Paige is like, well, you know, I felt like a part of me lost Prue too.
She says that she felt drawn to her and to them, and that it must have been part of her finding out who she is. Piper and Phoebe look at each other. Piper tells Paige to come with them so they can show her what good magic can do, and they get up to leave.
We push in through the tree with no leaves to find the girls in the attic at the manor. Phoebe is lighting the last of the 5 candles in a circle, and then joins Piper by the Book of Shadows as Paige watches on.
They say their spell, and Patty appears in bright light, wearing a light blue dress.
Phoebe tells her that they brought someone they thought she should meet.
Patty looks at Paige, Paige looks at Patty, and then Patty steps outside the circle and becomes real.
Well, corporeal.
Yeah.
Not real, just corporeal.
Yeah.
Like, she's a ghost. She's still real.
Sure.
In the universe.
Yeah. She hugs Paige, who smiles after the hug. Patty welcomes her home. She hugs her again as Piper and Phoebe watch the tender moment.
And we end with a tear rolling down Paige's cheek.
I am not afraid to admit that I also teared up in this moment.
I had a nice awe.
And we go to the end credits.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good episode in that we got some continuity with the sisters.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where like I'm laughing at because we are entering territory where I don't remember what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering like, okay, how long before they have Paige move in with them?
Yeah.
You know, because that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
But like, when is this going to happen?
Yeah.
My assumption, because again, no idea what's coming next, it's going to be sometime either next episode or the episode after that.
Okay.
That is my assumption as of right now. We'll find out if I'm right.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, good. I don't want spoilers. I want to find out as I watch.
Yeah.
So, with the episode done, that means we're on to our ratings. Have you come up with something?
I have.
Alrighty. What would you rate this episode?
I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 lightning levitations.
All right. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Fuck the elders.
Yes.
Because fuck the elders.
They don't know shit.
Yeah. Like, seriously, you know, you're supposed to be paying attention to these people, and you have no idea It takes 9 months for a baby to be born, and you had no clue that she was pregnant?
More like 10 months.
Whatever. Point is, you had no clue that she was pregnant? Are you dumb?
Like, we don't really get any information about how they might have been hiding it, just that they were and they didn't tell anyone, which means she was literally under house arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Because she couldn't have gone out, like, to a job or anything.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. There are so many unanswered questions that will, I'm sure, stay unanswered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, with ratings done, we're on to outfits. And, I mean, come on. Final dresses, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's no comparison.
I did like that blue shirt of Piper's, though. That was nice.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
That means...
We're on to social media stuff.
Yep. You can email any questions or comments to charmchats@gmail.com. You can find all of the links to whatever was mentioned in today's episode at charmchats.com.
Which is where you can also find the links to our Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Redbubble, and Patreon pages. And don't forget to join the Discord if you're a Patreon user. And let us know who you are so we can give you the proper role tags.
Yep.
And speaking of Patreon, we have a new patron.
A big shout out to Anna for becoming a patron at the $1 tier. We shall now shout your name into the ether. Anna! Don't forget that you can get access to all Patreon exclusive things at any tier, so be sure to check that out if you've got a few bucks to send our way. We truly appreciate it. We, again, thank you for listening and supporting our show.
Thanks.
We appreciate each and every one of you more than you'll ever know. So, until next time,
Sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks bite.
bye.
Bye. Piper, Phoebe, and Paige, kicking evil's ass weekly in this war they wage. So we'll see where it's at next time with Kendra and Kat on Charm.